This man robbed a gas station, then went on to break into and hijack a private jet. When Cody Anderson tried to buy 2 cartons of cigarettes at a local gas station in Washington, he realized he didn't have his ID on him, so he decided to grab the smokes and run. This obviously warranted the cops' involvement, but his day of evading the law was just getting started, and soon it would seriously escalate to ridiculous new levels. After leaving Quick Trip, he made for the La Crosse Regional Airport, where he charged straight through the gate on his truck. At that point, he began doing donuts around an airplane. Now, that's enough in itself to get you into a lot of trouble with the law, but Anderson was just getting started soon. He attempted to board the plane, threatening an airport employee with a knife. Once he stormed the craft, he found several crew members aboard who attempted to get help, and before long, authorities were contacted. Once the police arrived on the scene, they soon realized it was the same man they'd pursued earlier in the day at the convenience store. Initially, they tried to coax him out while he continued to wield the knife in the cockpit. After a little back and forth, they made the decision to open the door using the outside switch and attempted to subdue him through a non-lethal round. Even after being struck, Cody wasn't deterred by the beanbag and continued to threateningly brandish the knife. After that, he started issuing some crazy comments to stop the police's advances. After a little while, they fired at him again. This time, they struck him in the knee, and yet he continued to try and bargain in absurd ways. Once negotiations picked up, he threw the knife onto the plane steps. From there, the cops called in a Bearcat armored vehicle to block the lane and any possible attempts from him to ascend. Although they'd only had confirmation of a knife in his possession, Cody claimed he had C4 explosives that he'd acquired from the government, as well as 2 handguns. There, negotiations took a turn for the weird, as he claimed he would give up the switch if he could use the bathroom. But as more and more cops arrived on scene, Cody got increasingly angry and suggested he would remove the bomb if they moved out of the way. At the time, they were still in the dark over whether or not he could actually pilot the $30 million jet. But what they did know is that if he made any sudden movements, then the K9 unit on the scene would be having a snack. Over time, they kept him distracted until they disabled the aircraft's battery. By doing so, it basically meant that he couldn't go anywhere. Meanwhile, some officers searched Cody's truck, finding knives, .40 caliber ammunition, and a stun gun. At this stage, they ran his license and realized he was arrested just days prior in another country for driving while impaired through a cornfield. Around the 45-minute mark of negotiations, Cody just stopped getting back to them, and that's when the SHIELD team decided to collect him. After all of his threats, this went smoothly. Once he was taken into custody, Cody was charged with a litany of offenses. Among them were attempted carjacking, possession of a weapon, attempted armed robbery with threat of force, making terrorist threats, bomb scares, failure to comply, and misdemeanor criminal property damage. His bond was set at $500,000, and he's been held in custody since. If Anderson is convicted or enters an insanity plea, he may be eligible for treatment at the Mendota State Hospital.